We start with the Gayatri Mahamantra. With your back straight, both hands on your laps, left beneath the right, contemplative mood. Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Invocation of the timeless master, Adi Guru Muni Ved Vyas. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Deva Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha, Akhand Mandalakaram, Vyaptam Yena Characharam, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha, Om Shri Guru Namaha. व्यासरूपेण आवाहयामि स्थापयामि ध्यायामि पूजयामि ततो नमस्कारं करोमि. Shrimed Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8, Akshar Brahma Yoga, verse number 12. The technique of inner voyage, inner journey, which has connotations that need to be clarified. But beforehand, let me reiterate that now we embark upon a specific technique to interiorize, to dive into the deep meditation, where occurrences shall happen on its own. In fact, yes, the preparation is on the part of the seeker, undoubtedly. Of course, yes, the time taken shall correspond to the kind of preparation inside the seeker, undoubtedly. But the references that you should be understanding in the verse are the indicators for automatic or the auto mode or certain happenings that occur by themselves, where the interference of the seeker is minimal. To an extent, I may say that there is no interference at all, if I have to be very candid to express. Let's get on immediately onto the slide where we have the verse, and we'll go word by word so that we can do justice to the understanding. Sarvadvarina sanyamya manah hridi niruddhya cha murdhani adhaya atmanah pranam astita yog dharanam. The first two words are very important that convey Sarvadvarina Sanyamya. Now, Sarvadvarina Sanyamya indicates what? Means what? It means block. Sanyam means block. Sarvadvarina, all the doors. What are the doors that need to be blocked? Of course, when it is interiorization, when it is meditation, contemplation, so the doors have to be understood. All those doors that lead outward, all those doors that engage and entangle our awareness into different subjects, people, and situations. So all those passages, all those doors have to be now blocked. We have to totally seal ourselves before we transcend into the further mentioning in the slok. Now, what are those doors that must be understood? Few of the learned ones mark over here that these doors can be blocked by deploying a mudra, which is known as Yoni Mudra or Shanmukhi or Shadmukhi Mudra, whereby all the inlets are blocked, namely the thumbs, they block the ears, the index finger blocks the eyes, then the middle finger blocks the nostrils, and with the ring finger and the little finger, we close the lids of the mouth. And thereafter, we also try to squeeze in the anus, that we also term as mulband, of course, leaving aside the aspect of the genital organ. Now, all these doors have to be blocked Sarvadvarina Sanyamya. Block them before you proceed further. Now, this is an aspect which can be conducted outside and is also deployed by yogis in their esoteric sadhana. But do you mean to say that if I start blocking all these inlets or all these drivers which are a part of a sensorial instrumentation, will that suffice for me to interiorize? No, that won't. Then you have to now understand the meaning, the true connotation which has to parallelly travel along with. What is that? The true connotation is the difference that was discerned in Mandukya Upanishad between two early stages of awareness. What are those? Jagrata and Swapana, the waking state and the dream state. According to that Upanishad, there is hardly any difference between the activities that ongo in the state when we are waking, when we are woken up, and when we are in a dream state. It's almost that each and every organ, barring few external limbs, they may not appear to be moving, like legs are not walking, hands are not moving. At times, the intensity of the dream may involve the dreamer to an extent that even limbs also start moving. But in thickly speaking, in a dream state, the limbs may not appear to be moving, but the entire anatomy of the human existence, including the physio and the psycholo, both physiologically and psychologically, the entire anatomy works. If you're watching a scary dream, everything shall transpire the same way, even if you watch something scary in a woken state. If you are rejoicing within your dream, everything functions the same way absolutely as that you would rejoice when you are with wide open eyes outward. So there is hardly any difference between the state when you're woken up and when you're in a dream state. So Sanyama Dvarina, Sarvadvarina, blocking all doors. Now, blocking all doors should be understood with a connotation, all doors that are also active and in function even when you're in dream state. So thereby it should not confine to merely plugging physically the inlets or the sensorial organs by thumbs, by index finger, the eyes, etc. So it has to be taken further to understand that Sarvadvarina, all doors, mean the doors that remain active and function in their absolute manner even in the dream state. Ultimately, it's about the conservation of the pranic energy. The great master of all times, Adiguru Muni Vedvyas, is in actual sense indicating towards conservation of prana in absolute sense. Even the infinitesimal portion of prana that otherwise might drain out through one or the other activity should be stalled, should be blocked. Then how can it happen? Obviously, when you have deployed jammers or blocks at the end of your awareness. No thought, no imagination, no worries, no dreamy affair, maybe hallucination, nothing going on into you, no recall of a memory, not even embossing your isness in any form, ahankara. So each and every activity in general that your outward awareness can dispense to consume any form of energy must be totally stalled, must be totally blocked. So it's about absolute conservation of the energy. By saying Sarvadvarina Sanyamya, the yogi wants to make the seeker understand that you have to instill control, restraint at the end of your awareness. And that obviously under Ashtanga Yoga is a process. It's a process which is time taking, where you need to evolve. It's nothing which is instantaneous. Impulses cannot be brought into control with immediacy. No, it takes time for you to evolve. Through countless failures, there comes a moment when you're able to exercise some restraint upon your awareness, whereby you can create a small caveat within your own experience, that where you can say that I was thoughtless for a while. I was not thoughtless all through, but yes, I was thoughtless for a while. Now, I would like to add something which a great exalted being has given an understanding over here. He says, if you have a small passage available where you can experience this kind of an interlude where there are no thoughts at all, you are thoughtless, that is the time when you should ignite. And ignite by deploying which are the kind of blockages which are even external, like Shadmukhi Mudra. Now you can enjoin both the connotations are in the same word, block all the doors, which means to start with by blocking or by gaining control, by gaining some right and might to be able to exercise control at the end of your awareness. Thereafter, when you're able to exercise some control, then you can utilize that small interlude of thoughtlessness to jump further, to take a leap forward by deploying external barriers of Shadmukhi Mudra or Yoni Mudra. It's the same. They both can be understood as a synonym here, though people also create a figure by their hands and they term it as Yoni Mudra, but in general, these two have to be taken as synonym, the Shanmukhi Mudra or Shadmukhi Mudra and Yoni Mudra. So now you understand, like you want to create an ignition, even a spark can help you. And spark then further turns into a fire that smolders a bit. And that smoldering fire has to be given a blow so that it ignites and comes and takes a form of something like a blazing fire. How will that happen? It shall only happen when you have undergone a long preparation, when you've been able to exercise adequate control upon your impulsive responses. Then only comes a moment when you get this interlude of thoughtlessness, almost zero activity within your awareness, and it's then if you deploy Shadmukhi Mudra, something might happen thereof. But not that you simply jump on by reading the verse and you apply Yoni Mudra and you say that now I'm going to transcend into a different dimension. No, it's not going to happen that way. It's a preparation. The preparation precedes before you can consider any kind of an exercise of this kind externally. Having said that, let me get back to the slide once again and get on with the next word, which says Manaha Hridi Niruddhaya Cha. Now it says, bring your mind to your heart. When I say mind, understand it in the form of awareness. Bring your mind, focus it on your heart. We also, under Brahma Muhurat meditation, we bring our mind, we focus our attention towards our heart region, and then we stay there with certain experiences. Is the great master indicating that what we do in the meditation? No, not at all. It's something different. Then what? He's talking about bring your attention, bring your focus of attention to your heart region. That's what it mentions. Yeah, it mentions that, but here it is something different. It is same like a great preparation involved before one could deploy any external blockages to one's sensorial drivers and then transcend further. It is something like that. I have made a mention even earlier under several discourses that when you undergo absolute dissolution within your head, where do we experience thoughts? Head. Where do we experience imagination, recall memory? Here. Where do we experience our awareness? Here. Of course, yes, we can transfer of awareness to each and every organ of body, and not only body, we can even transfer and a portion of our awareness to different places, to different world, different people, different situations. We can do that. But here it means something different. When you undergo total dissolution into any kind of a contemplative exercise, maybe it is dhyan or japa, when you undergo total dissolution, a state comes when automatically your awareness transcends from your head to your heart. When you listen it for the first time, it appears quite weird. It should appear weird. Why so? Because you have never experienced it. Something which you have never experienced and does not bear a common rationale for which there is any testimony in the science of the moment, of course, you are going to term it as weird. And you should. And you should do that till the moment arrives when you are going to experience and witness and sight the sun of your own right. So, you should take it as weird, there is no doubt. But however you take it does not matter. Most important is that a moment comes when automatically your entire awareness, where you experience, observe, witness, undergo, whatever within your head, it transcends down to the heart. And then you no more prevail here, then you only exist here. And when that happens, that's a wonderful experience which is ineffable, cannot be confined by any kind of an elaboration or detailing by mere words. It is something that you must experience by your own self. Anything short of it may approximate, but shall never do justice to the true experience that transpires. And when you come over here, thereafter there are many experiences which are absolutely new to you, may appear to be quite strange initially, but later on you become more adept to them, you become familiar to them, and then after that there is no scare left at that aspect, because there are moments when you are detached from the physical encaged experiencing, that you feel that you are going to die. Are you going to leave your body, your physical dimension? A scare runs through like a tremor. But then you overcome it after an experience of few more days of meditation or transition into such a state. The yogi, the timeless master, indicates that when you have consolidated your awareness, conserved your energy from any kind of infringement, any kind of distraction, any kind of dispensation, then automatically your awareness consolidates and transcends to the region of your heart. Then you exist here, not here. Let me reiterate, however weird it may appear to you, it should. Like a scientist, you should not take the words for believing unless you experience them by yourself. But it must be mentioned that this is how it actually transpires when you consolidate your awareness without any kind of distraction within, then it transcends to the heart region. The yogi in the verse goes beyond. The great master goes on to convey, let me get back to the slide again. Murdhani adhaya atmanah pranam. I confine to the word pranam. Murdhani adhaya atmani pranam. Atmanah pranam. What did it say? It says, then there is an opening, from here to this place, the center of your eyebrow, the center of eyebrow. Now I involve the mentioning of the exalted being, which one of his disciples scripted while he was giving a discourse upon the same verse. I'm talking about Lahari Mahashaji. What he probably shared with his disciples, and as they scripted it, they said that the great exalted one mentioned that when you are be seated. You means your total awareness. Your total awareness. When you are seated here in the region of the heart, then automatically an opening ushers, an opening into the vein, the subtle vein known as Sushumna. It is subtle and it has to be understood as a passage made out of light. To be precise, if you want to understand it, approximate it, you can take it as a laser. When you throw a laser into the sky, what is the route that it takes to travel? It takes the route of the air. Obviously, in the open space, it takes the route of the open space and the light travels. It creates an own passage and it travels. Likewise, Sushumna is not a nerve like any gross nerve that we have within our body. It is a subtle nerve made out of light and it comes into form. It comes into form or it activates, both words can be deployed here. It comes into form like a passage of light wherethrough your awareness then travels towards your center of your eyebrow. Although that you have transcended from your head towards your heart after consolidation of your all distractions, your entire existence comes and establishes within the heart. The moment it establishes, thereafter a passage of light opens up and you then travel into that passage, through that passage, which connects from here to the Brahmarandra, and then it then leaps out of the Brahmarandra like a springboard. And thereafter, now these are all the mentioning of the Exalted One, not mine. I merely read them and I'm sharing it with you. And thereafter, then your awareness is able to travel into dimensions unknown, gross and subtle, both planes of existence. Something which is unbelievable then happens with you. And then you are not that confined, belittled one and caged into this physical dimension. Then you are set free, a liberated one. Even if you are in the body, even if you are still alive in this physical dimension, even then you can access the known and the unknown worlds of both the gross and the subtle dimension. These are the mentioning of the great master. And there is no doubt for us to believe, breathing being, let me reiterate my words and punctuate them properly. There is no doubt for us that we can raise before and stop believing. We have to believe. We have to believe. There's a right punctuation to that expression. We have to believe that it happens so. Because to an extent, I have already traversed. Yes, beyond that extent, I may not have traversed, but yes, to an extent, I have been able to traverse in my own personal journey, in my own sadhana. The last two words, astata yoga dharanam, established there, establish over there. Now you have to undergo the yoga. Now you have to absorb yourself into yoga. Now you have to imbibe the higher realms of yoga. How it is going to happen shall be shared under the verse number 13, which we shall be undertaking in the next classroom. But here, let me reiterate the most important mentioning once again, that Sanyamya Sarvadvarina, which in the verse here the word Sarvadvarina precedes the Sanyamya, but I have used it here in my own fashion. Sanyamya Sarvadvarina, block all those doors. Block all those doors that create any kind of an expenditure of energy within you, prana, because till you are able to travel beyond Brahmarandra, it is by spending prana. It is through prana, the energy inextricable to that limit. Till that limit, energy is inextricable. It cannot be avoided. It's like a rocket and a satellite relationship. If the satellite has to be placed into its orbit in the space, rocket is mandatory till that moment. Once the satellite is established in its orbit in the space, thereafter we do not require, there is no need for the rocket to exist. It can now disengage and perish because now the satellite is on its own. Likewise, the prana is mandatory to travel. The conservation of prana is mandatory. The prana to flow in the most harmonious manner, like a laser, they're all harmonious. They're all in synergy. The difference between any ordinary light and laser is about what? It's about synchronicity. It's about harmony. In a harmonized fashion, when all rays are consolidated, even to some extent, a little extent, they become a laser and they have a great impact to cast upon wherever it is cast. It can be fatal too, to an extent that there are technologies now under innovation whereby they are becoming a fatal mode as an arsenal, even for the warfare. So, just by organizing the scattered light, harmonizing it, see what impacts it can create. The same is with the awareness. If you can disengage your awareness from all of its attributions outside, scattered outside, what happens? That becomes like a laser. And that energy, that prana conserved, brings you to a different exalted region within your own existence, the heart, which so far the modern science has been able to gauge, that is the region wherefrom electromagnetic radiation it emanates, and in comparison brain stands nowhere. This is to the extent modern science has been able to gauge about the heart. Heart here does not confine to the physical organ merely to function as to pump the blood, but the region of the heart, which is subtle, which is far more powerful, which has a role which can connect the human existence to the cosmos. So when you consolidate your awareness, you harmonize your energy, thereafter a passage of light opens by the name Sushumna that enables you to travel to the Agya Chakra and therefrom take a plunge outside from the Brahmarandra towards the worlds unknown. That is the exalted master's interpretation or a mentioning. But confining to the last two words of the verse, which is Astitaha Yoga Dharanam, let me reiterate that something else also can be done. For all those who have not come to the level where they can consolidate energies to an extent that their passage of Sushumna opens up, all those can follow a different technique as well. And that is going to be mentioned in verse number 13. I would insist upon all the students to study verse number 13 beforehand, before the next class, so that they can connect much more when I embark upon that verse with an additional understanding that I'll be sharing based upon my personal experience and the study I shall conduct before teaching you. So take it as a homework and come back in the next classroom, and therefrom we shall start understanding what if I'm not able to consolidate my energies to the extent that Sushumna opens. What is there for me next then? It may take something more time, but till then what? And that what shall be answered in the next classroom. We have a live classroom upon Shrimed Bhagavad Gita every second and last Sunday at 7:30 a.m. in Hindi and 9 a.m. in English. Till then, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है।